what is it, 100 years, about 100 years now?
It has gone on so long under great pressures through the years. It's just incredible.
Those folks built this church when they had no money, when a depression and World War I and World War II and things like that, and I've just always felt like we can't let them down.
In 1916, a milkman was delivering to Mrs. Stewart on Olney Street nearby here, and he said to her, could you direct me to the nearest church in West Watertown?
And there wasn't any up this end of town, and there were no sidewalks up this end of town.
It was a group of people, neighborhood people, that didn't have a church close by, and they all got together and wanted to build this church.
The neighborhood group established themselves in 1917 as Union Church and met in a vacant storefront on Watertown's Main Street while they built their future home.
Through a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears or whatever, they actually had started to build it themselves. It isn't like they went out and got a contractor or anything. They actually started the basement church by itself. They dug the basement and used pails and lifted the dirt out.
They had a lot of dirt and they didn't know how to get rid of it. And they apparently didn't have the money for it. So they asked all the parishioners to bring a couple of pails when they came to church, every time they came to church. And they took home pails of dirt.
In 1921, on Easter Sunday, though the building wasn't complete, Union Church held its first service in the basement church. They continued to meet there until February 27, 1930, when tragedy struck in the midst of the Great Depression, a fire.
The fire ruined the building.
But they persevered and they raised money to build this church.
In 1931, the church held services in the new construction. While the church community was strong over the years, there were signs that might not continue. Young families couldn't afford to live in Watertown.
They put notices in the newspaper saying that someone had taken a census and felt that the Protestant population in this town had grown as far as it could.
Union Church became the Community Church of Watertown, and they realized that a shrinking congregation wouldn't keep the church going. The church sold its parsonage in 1982 and used that money to stay open over the years, but looked for other opportunities.
Charlie Casello came into action, and he got the nursery school in here that produced an income and still is.
We were looking for revenue, and they came to me and asked me if they could put antennas up there, T-Mobile up in the tower. I said, it's good. It's a good location, and we need a little revenue to keep going and keep the church active, I wasn't about to close it down.
With those deals, the revenue kept the church going, but its congregation was still small.
Well, if we had 12 people to a Sunday service, that was a lot.
So the community church looked at other options.
We didn't see much of a future for what we had, but we all had the same vision and we all had the same goal, and that was just to carry on the tradition of this church that was created for a community that needed a church.
The community church sold the building to Grace Chapel, and on July 28, 2013, held its last service. In October of 2013, Grace Chapel Watertown reopened.
We want to celebrate and honor the people who sacrificed and built this church. We also want to thank them for entrusting this property to Grace Chapel so that people now will also discover life with God for the good of the world in the next generation.
Happy 100 years!